This video today is about using a photo as inspiration. Hi, I'm Nicola, your Creative West Aussie. If that's what you're looking for, then these are the photos we'll be using. The orange is the colour I used for standing out, as is the yellow, and the rest I thought some blue would look good. Here are the 3 cardstocks I've decided to use, and this is the paper from Sullivan Craft collection called Beach Shack that I liked. Then just here to my left I've got my tonic travel mat, and the Versamat is what I'm also going to work on. Helps with lots of measurements, etc. I'm going to use this stencil for sun rays, and I think it will match well with the photo, and I'm going to make that 3.5 inches. Taping it down and finding my blending foam from my collection. I have one for every ink. I've decided to use the oxide ink, I think it's called Marmalade, and I put my foam pad down, use my tool, and here I go. I'm going to stencil it. Let's see how this works. Peeling it off. I'm quite happy with that result. I'm showing you now how I take my pads off. I use a tweezers because especially the oxide gets messy, and I put it the same side up every time in the plastic bag. I'm now going to use my heat tool just on the lowest setting just to dry it off. Bringing in my selected page, I've already had the name of the page on there. I've rubbed that out. I use the creative memory pages, so that's why I've got that white border on the side, and I'm just auditioning my papers for where I want them to sit. Then I decide I'm going to use this black ink to edge around the paper. Again, taking it out and doing a couple of sides for you. Won't show you the whole lot. But yes, I'm really happy with that effect. Now this yellow card here is 2.5 inches. So that's going to go at the bottom. So I'm going to stick that down. Then I'm going to put the orange card at the top down. I'm just using my APG gun because I know it's going to be permanent. And then lastly I can put on here my edged paper, which I'm really happy with the look of that. Next I needed to introduce the blue, so I've matted the photos with this. Here I show you how I line up one side and cut it 1/4 inch, and with the other side. When I'm finished I'll have 1/8 all the way round, and I'm doing the little pieces to stick down as well. I'm seeing where I might like to place them, but I'm not really sure at this stage. Thinking about the middle one going up higher. So although I'm not sure of the placement, I'm definitely sure of this hook, line and sinker stamp. So we'll see what's going to happen. Before I make a decision on that, I'm going to choose the embellishments I'd like to use. This is where I use my stamps, and I like this one because it's got a fishing rod there on the side. This stamp set was called At the Lake, and it's one I've saved for a long time now, hoping I could use it, which I will. So I'm putting it on a acrylic block, and I'm going to use this black ink here. I've chosen to stamp it on the white, and this one I'm going to have to fussy cut because it didn't come with a die. Here I am thinking about where I'm going to put that. Still not sure. In the meantime I have this other stamp that says Adventure on it. It's also got a thin cut, so I think I'll add this as part of the embellishments. Again, this is going to be white cardstock. Here I am lining up the stamp, popping the block on top. I love using stamps on my pages. Me pressing my thumbs on there is me priming it, and again, don't know why I put that away, but putting the ink on there, making sure I've got enough. And this time I used the foam pad at the back instead of turning my mat over. Voila. And while I've got the ink out, I'll on the yellow stamp black for another embellishment. With the magic of film, I have cut those out using my Gemini. So here they are. And I'm just again working out where I'd like to place them. Still not set in concrete, but that's just part of the fun. I knew I wanted to add some stamping in a stripe at the bottom, so I've used 3 stamps to make this piece. I've used some stripes, a fish, and an air bubble. I just line them up by eye, alternating them. Then I just cut it off. I did it a little bit wider so I could tuck it in after. This will make a great grounding piece, but I feel like it needs a little bit more blue in there. So I decided to add in a 1/4 inch strip. And then I'm showing you how I'll tuck it in underneath. I decided to dovetail, so I've cut straight across the bottom. I'm going to cut in the center, which lines up with the fish tail, and then do the left one up to the middle and then the right one up to the middle. Now it's just a case of sticking it all into place. And oh, I'm really happy with that. I think that's going to work really well. As I'm putting it into place, I'm sorry, get a bit of my head in there, but I had to line it up. Now I'm auditioning the title. I'm not really sure if I like it down there. And I'm still not 100% sure about the setup either of the photos. But that's where I'm going to put my journaling. Maybe I can pop it up. Oh, yes, I like it up there. And look how I've cascaded those photos. I'm much happier with that. Using the grid lines on the Versamat, I can pop the title onto one of my acrylic blocks. I'm going to use archival ink as it will cover the oxide stenciling I did earlier a lot better. Of all the inks, this one I only purchased recently. I've had others for quite a while now, so I decided to buy a small size. And you can see that I'm inking onto the stamp, and with a scrap piece of printer paper, I'm just making sure it prints properly before I decide to use it. So it's worked well, and now I'm ready to go ahead with my page. A little bit of extra ink won't go astray, so that it looks lovely when it's put into place. Yes! I've decided to cut out some more embellishments. I'm using a discontinued ink called Whisper in this grey colour, top left hand corner here. I've also put on 3 seagulls, and once I popped that tag into place, I decided it needed edging as well. Let's see how that looks. Tucking that in there. Oh yeah, that's much better. Next I'm bringing in the Avery mailing stickers. This is an 8-pack that I've used, and I have used my normal printer, inkjet printer, to do the label. I'm placing it in the area there. You do need to let it dry a little bit before you touch it. It peels off easily, and once I've placed it down, I can burnish it with my bone folder and it looks invisible, right? Now I've moved on to another embellishment. It was a die cut Christmas bauble, and I thought it might look like a sinker, especially if I edge it. So I'm hoping that will do the trick. Then I decide to use my Whisper grey ink to stamp the seagulls. They look great. So I already know where I'm going to position those. Did 3 of those. They're a little bit fiddly. I'm putting them back on the sheet after. These will look great because this ink matches the tag card that I used earlier. Just finishing that off. Now I'm going to bring in the white ribbon. This is what I've decided to put on the tag. It's a brand new roll. And once I get that open, I'm going to cut a piece off, thread it through the tag and double knot it. But any white rope or something would, that would probably look good too. But I didn't think of that. Anyway, as I'm tying this ribbon through my tag, I just would like to remind you that if you're liking the content of this video, please press the thumbs up button, and any of the products I have used in here I will be popping in the description below, so you'll know exactly what I've used. So here I am just popping it into shape, then sticking everything into place, all the pre-cut dies and stamps that I chose before. I really like the this yellow piece. I don't know what it's called, but it matches the mat of the drone quite nicely, I think. And once that's into place, I'm now going to cut the ribbons to the shape and length that I like and pull it into place to make sure it's right. So I like the fishing rod where it is now. It just looks a bit short, so I'm going to cut it in half and lengthen it to make it look more like a beach fishing rod. You'll also notice I coloured it in with a tri-blend. I used the tan one. And then I'm getting that sinker. Did it end up looking like a sinker? Right, nearly coming to the end here. Quite liking it. I'm going to move that Versamat out of the way and just finish off with all the trims. I remember I have these shell sequins in my stash, so I have 4 colours, so I pick which ones I want to use and try to stick them in 3 points of interest rule. So here they are, and I'm just going to go ahead and put one there, on that sinker, one up the left there on that tag. I think will look nice. Yeah, that looks good. And one down the middle here. Nice. So here are some close-up shots. I think that's all finished now. Thanks again for joining me. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already on my face. And take care, and I'll catch up with you next time. Also, I'm not sure if you know, but these 2 links I've put up here, they are for other videos you might like to watch. So I'll let that run for a little while so that you can pop them on.